Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Money and Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Sheryka Alford, and she is.
Anntricia Bray Smith.
We are so glad to be back with you. We are now in season 4, which I cannot believe it, but yes, this is the 4th season. And we are going to talk about preparing for the holidays. It just seems like time has just flown by. I mean, I know it seems cliche to hear that, my how time flies, but no, really, it seems that time has really flown by.
And is flying. It's not slowing down.
Absolutely. Once this airs, I guess we're just now ending the Labor Day holiday, and which means we're just under 80 days until Thanksgiving. I mean, and you know how it is, Thanksgiving, Christmas is just right there. So today we want to kind of chit chat and talk about ways that you can avoid having these holidays to have such a big impact on your finances. Um, of course,
On just the finances?
well,
Because it's,
look,
it's
that, that
emotionally.
that is
It's
true.
emotionally draining too. I mean, many people, that's when our anxieties and depressions and all this begin to heighten too around the holidays. So not just on the finances, guys. Don't mistake.
That's true, but a lot of it has to do, and not all, but a lot has to do with poor planning. Back in season 3, we did a mid-year check-in, and one of the things we mentioned, I believe, was, hey, have you considered, starting a sinking fund for the holidays? Because I know it's you're not really thinking about the holidays so much in June, but if you just start putting back, then that's less that you have to stress and worry whenever that time actually comes. So yes, you're right. It does have an impact on the emotions, the mental, as well as the financial. But hopefully we can help provide tips that will help reduce or eliminate some of those problems.
Oh, I got some tips. I got some tips. You might not want to hear them, but I
Oh,
got.
no, we always want to hear the tips you have.
Oh boy, yeah. Holidays, and I know some of you guys may be single parents out here listening, and the holidays, are some of the most stressful times. And so hopefully something is said here today to help minimize the stresses of all that and give you a new perspective on the holidays and how to make it enjoyable and less frustrating and less emotionally draining this year than ever before.
Right, because we do have a lot of other things outside of the holidays that are draining us enough. So we won't go into that. But I'll just jump right in. Take time to think about what it is that you're planning to do. And I don't mean just for Christmas, because like I said, Thanksgiving, that's when it starts, especially if you're someone who
And wait a
hosts
minute,
dinners.
because if you're in my family, it starts at Halloween. So
Oh yeah, your girls love Halloween.
if you're in my family, it starts at Halloween. So we got to start there with all the costumes and the
Oh,
parties and the candy. That stuff costs more money too. So that's what I think we need to start. Yeah, we're looking at Thanksgiving, but we got to get past Halloween first if you're in my house. So.
well, that is so true. I guess, well, that's your house. It works a little differently around here. It's not as big of a, I guess you would say, a to-do for us. But so what all do you guys generally do for Halloween? Whenever you celebrate Halloween, what's the norm for you guys?
My girls, they're grown now. But one of the things when I was with my daughter yesterday, she was saying my birthday tomorrow. My birthday tomorrow. Yeah, I know your birthday is tomorrow. But then one of the things that I heard her say was, "Oh, Halloween's coming up, and I got to figure out what I'm going to be for Halloween. I got to give me a new costume this year. I've been Cleopatra for the last 2 years." So naturally, what they're saying is that I got to get some money together and start looking to see what I'm going to dress up as. And with that being said, we're not dressing up just to stay at home. There's some partying or something that's going on.
Right. And of course, if you go to parties, there's a
You
cost
got to
there
get
as well.
you got to get your hair done. You got to make sure the Halloween, the dress up makeup is just right.
That is so true.
You got to make sure you can have the money for the admission or whatever. Because if it's not a house party and it's at a location at some kind of event facility, then you got to pay for the cost of admission. You got to pay for your food and drinks and all that kind of stuff. So the gas to get there. So it's a lot to consider there. And then I have the other daughter that she's ready for Halloween, but she's more anxious and concerned about the Halloween movies and the different things like this. She's excited about that. Well, but I also know she likes candy, so we have to spend money on the candies and things like that.
Well, and you know that has gone up. Let me.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let me just tell you. I went to the store the other day, and I was considering buying candy, for this event. But then once I looked, and I was like, the cost that they're charging for this candy, that candy does not have protein in it. I can go over to the meat section and spend that money on meat for dinner. I was like, oh no. So we came up with the plan B. But needless to say, either way, whether it's for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever it is, one thing I will say is to set a budget for your spending and set limits. So, of course, I don't say don't go out and enjoy doing the things that you enjoy, because for one, that's not realistic. And I mean, why? You should have fun, but set limits and guidelines as you're doing it. So one of the things you can do as you're preparing for these, know that it's coming up, it's on the calendar. Set a budget for what you're going to spend and stick to your limits. In addition to that, again, start putting back a little bit at a time. Every time you get paid or any income you get, start putting back for those purposes. And that'll help kind of eliminate that last minute pinch that we experience when we don't prepare in advance.
Yeah. And then too, we talk about Thanksgiving. We know Thanksgiving is a time where the families like to get together and, have a gathering and eat together and things like that. One of the things is to meal plan. Meal plan is going to save you from buying all those extra things at the store. Mm-hmm. So look for things like dry beans. Look for making your breads from scratch. Things like that can minimize the cost of the groceries, because inflation is real. Let me just say that. And we are seeing a big increase in not only our fuels and things like that, but also in our grocery bills. And so we want the food to be able to stretch a little longer. Maybe instead of having 5 or 6 different meats at the table, let's narrow it down to 2. Maybe instead of having 5 or 6 desserts at the table, let's narrow it down to 3. Maybe rather than having all these different vegetables and things like that we really enjoy, let's narrow it down to our minimal favorites and enjoy the meal like that. And that would help cut costs during the holiday.
Right. Yeah. And keep in mind, so I know different people have different perspectives about things, but just always remember, whenever we do come together as a family, it's that family togetherness that we more so enjoy. The food is good, but the main thing is having that time together. So, don't be so hard on yourself, I guess, because I know some people really take pride into, I want to have these 5 different meats on the menu and these 6 desserts, and because that's their
well
thing.
Even if you do that, when you have other family coming on, delegate some of that. If 5 meats, 6 meats are important, if all those different Desserts are important, then delegate somebody else that's coming in to bring and share cost of some of those things. That would help stretch it a little bit too. Because I know my
Absolutely.
kids, they one thing I know they love is dressing. So dressing is on the menu, and it's affordable for me to make because I make it from scratch. But there may be some things that they ask for that may not be so affordable. Maybe I have a hen and maybe they want a turkey, so, or a ham. And so I can tell them, well, y'all be responsible for purchasing that and bring it in. I will prepare it. And then that helps kind of share some of the costs.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, like you said, have other people pitch in. Also, if you have things on your menu that like non-perishable, like you mentioned beans, or even if you're making bread, if if you need cornmeal or whatever non-perishable things that you can get, instead of waiting like until the week of the holiday or whatever, as you're doing your regular grocery shopping, start picking those things up now, so that you'll have them. That way you're kind of spreading the cost out more so over time, instead of taking that big lump sum out of your monthly or weekly income, doing just that big swoop for holiday shopping. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And one of the things, if you wait too long, like even we know a couple years ago, we weren't able to locate cranberry sauce and things like that. Little things that are important that makes your meal, takes your meal to the next level. Those things you want to start looking at now, going in, picking up one or two here and there, so that when it comes down for you to sit down to actually plan what your holiday meal is going to look like, then you will already know what you have in the pantry and what you need to pick up. And it helps minimize the stress of not being able to find it on the shelf when that time actually comes.
Yes, that is so true. And as far as your menu, one thing we did last year, it was like for Christmas, instead of doing just like the traditional meal, with the dressing and the turkey and whatnot, we did something totally different, like a non-traditional meal. That's something else you may want to consider, because I, I don't know this for a fact, but I can imagine stores could potentially raise the price for the common items that we use during the holiday. I mean, it makes good marketing sense. Like around Easter ham, if you raise the price of ham, it makes totally good sense. So if things are tight, you may want to consider having a non-traditional meal, baked potatoes, and everybody can personalize their baked potatoes, or make pizzas at home, or just anything. Because again, a lot of it's not so much the food that's the emphasis on the holidays. It's the company and the conversation and everything with your loved ones. So that's something you may want to consider.
Yeah, and I think we've missed that a lot over the past years, couple years. I have to say a couple years because we're still in this thing. So we've missed that a lot. And with that being said, many of us are so emotionally driven that we overdo it. We overdo it, and we put more pressure on ourselves than should be or that's necessary. So yeah, consider those things. And
Yes.
it all has to do, like you said, with planning. Now I want to kind of switch gears here, because we have a audience of people who are raising small children, and not only small children, but grandchildren at that. And with that being said, we want to buy toys for the holiday. And let me say that toys are okay, but I would almost guess that your children and grandchildren have plenty of toys that they're not even playing with. And so if you're going to want to purchase new toys for the holiday, it would be a good idea to start now going through what they already have. And you will find that some of it is still new and still in boxes that they haven't even opened and they forgot about it. Start going through that and either selling some of those new things or taking those new things and rewrapping it up and gifting it gifting it out for the holidays. Even some of the older toys, maybe you think they're not good enough to resell, start to donate those things to the Goodwills and the Salvation Armies and the thrift shops and consignment stores, so that you can make room for these new items that maybe the kids are desiring. And with that being said, get the kids involved this year in, before you just go out and buy a bunch of toys that they don't necessarily want. Have them write down a list or sit down together and let's talk about this list, and let them put anything they can think of on this list, and then talk about narrowing it down to just one or two items. Because kids are like us, they have these grandiose ideas and they think that they need all of this. Once they see it on paper, they're going to be able to see what it is that they actually want. And a lot of times it's usually only one or two things. Now you can go to the my favorite store for the smaller kids at least, and get a few fill-in things, 20 fill-in things. I'll just give you a number. Go spend $22 on getting 20 fill-in things to add to it and wrap up, or however you want to do it. But narrow down those big ticket items down to one or two things. And then let me say, don't just go out and buy it. It's plenty of time now that you can start comparing prices. And one of the first places that I suggest you start to make those purchases is QVC. QVC is online, and many of the toys and the items that these kids want are on there. And instead of paying one big price for it like you would in the department stores, they divide your prices up into 3 to 6 months of payments. And so that would help minimize your financial stresses, but also you get those gifts right then. You can get those gifts and wrap them and put them away, or whatever it is that you need to do. And then by the time December or January gets here, you don't have that overhead cost over your head, spending the next 8 to 10 months of your life trying to pay off those debts from this year. So it's just something to consider. Even those kitchen items and things like that, that maybe you want to buy for your parents or your grandparents, consider looking there and shopping to see what they have, and go ahead and see what you can get this month, and begin to plan out what you're going to do for the holiday season. If spending is on your list. No, everything you have is right there. You know what you're going to pay, whether it's $30 a month for 3 months. It is what it is. You're going to make that $30 payment for the next 3 months. It's paid in full.
So they don't charge interest?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know that, because,
Yeah.
you know.
So it's like even my grown kids, sometimes they want a new laptop or something like that. So I go there and I find what meets their needs. And that's where I purchase those big ticket items, because maybe my payments are $76 a month for 6 months. They ship it right to us. And I know for the next 6 months, I'm paying $76, charging it, and wherever I'm charging it to, my debit card, credit card, my PayPal, whatever. And then I know that that's coming out. And then of course I pay all of my bills in full at the end of the month, whether it's credit card or whatever. So at the end of the month, it's just like another bill. So it's less stress for me. I don't have to worry about where the money's coming from and all of that. And I know that I have budgeted for this.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, and another thing you might want to consider during the holidays, and instead of purchasing like an actual gift, maybe provide a service, make a homemade coupon or something that says, okay, I'll babysit little Susie and Timmy for an hour on whatever, I don't know. Or if you know how to do makeup, I know these kids, nieces and stuff, they know how to do makeup and put on those eyelashes and they can, instead of spending money on a gift, they may say, hey, I will be willing to come do your makeup for you.
Let
Or
me just say this, my little nieces and nephews and all them, I expect me a coffee cup, a customized coffee cup. So you better get to shopping at Vista Print or somewhere right now, waiting on themselves and give me some coffee mugs, right? I don't need no makeup. I can do my own makeup. I don't need nobody come clean my house. I got a maid. I want my coffee mugs.
then those are some of the best gifts, the customized, whether the pillow, the coffee mugs, the different things that you can put the pictures on. Those are awesome, because I know we did that one year, so those were nice gifts as well. Don't go into sticker shop, but if by chance, if you're into sending out holiday cards, the cost of postage, let's see, yeah, it probably has gone up by now. From just regular 55 cents, you'll probably pay about 58 cents instead, not to mention other means of sending post or Christmas gifts or whatever. So if you're one that mail like gift boxes, you may want to keep in mind the size of what it is that you're sending. So basically, if there's a choice between one item that weighs this amount and another one that's half that, you may want to go with the other one, because you're going to pay for it in postage, because even just all around freight costs and everything in general has gone up. And of course, that's being passed to us as consumers, which that's understandable. That's just the way it works. So be mindful of that if you're into sending out gifts and or Christmas cards. You'll probably see a change there as well. So
and these stores are bringing layaway back. Don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle of layaway. Don't just go out and make some impulse buys or impulse purchases just because something is on layaway, or you can get it on layaway, because that layaway doesn't require you to have a level of discipline when it comes to making those payments toward your layaway. And you can still find yourself overwhelmed with making those payments if you didn't have a good plan to balance those payments out. And then here it comes December 20th, and you've got all this stuff in layaway, and now you got to come up with this big chunk of money because you didn't plan wisely. So don't get caught up in that. And if you're going to use layaway, set yourself a plan, because if you start now, you still have about 4 months to make good on those payments. So whatever that amount is that you put in layaway, divide it by 4 months, and make sure you make those payments every week or every month, so that you're not overwhelmed when it comes to the holidays and getting caught up in that financial strain.
Right. And also, if your family's one that, everyone buys gifts for everyone, maybe suggest, pull names. That way, everyone pulls a name and they're responsible for purchasing a gift or providing a service or whatever to just that one individual, instead of everyone feeling so, pressed and feeling like they need to do for everyone. Because, I mean, times are hard for us all. I'm just going to put that out there. While they are hard, there are also things that we can do to lessen the impact. So it's just a matter of preparing in advance, changing our mindset about how we do things, and actually putting these steps into practice. So I think that about does it. We've told you, hey, start preparing now. It's coming.
Yeah, now's the time to plan. Now's the time to plan. We don't know what these variants and all that is going to look like between now and then. So we have to have a plan in action, and we have to let it be flexible enough that we're not emotionally driven when it comes to these holidays because of what we're not able to do, or so you want to be an informed consumer.
Yep.
And what better time to be prepared than to start now and to consider what's really important. And I can tell you some of the things that we consider to be important when it comes to the holidays, like all these toys and designer this, and it's on sale, and the Black Friday and the Cyber Mondays and all that, you're going to find that those things are still going to cost you, and they're not going to be as satisfying or gratifying as you may think. So um, I would say if you're going to make purchases, make the most out of that, and you continue to be in a place of empowerment when it comes to your finances and your emotional health.
That's it. On that note, until next time, take care.